Hello, LinkedIn. It is Liam Redding, Senior HubSpot Strategist for Remotish Agency, and I'm back today with another 1-minute HubSpot tip. Although, like most of the other videos, probably going to go over a minute. This one is one that's near and dear to my heart because it's something that's super frustrating for me, and I'm sure super frustrating for other HubSpot admins as well. And that's around re-enrollment criteria. And sometimes when you use a custom property, or if you use something other than like an object trigger for your workflow, you're going to get this. It's going to say the following enrollment conditions can't be used for re-enrollment, and it's going to star that, and it's going to let you know, hey, you can't use product for re-enrollment. Well, that's an issue because if I have a process or some flow that I need to occur every time that instance is true, then I need it to have re-enrollment, and it really puts a HubSpot admin or whoever's building that workflow in a really tough place because you can't turn it on if it's not going to work properly. And if it doesn't have re-enrollment and it needs to, then it's not going to run properly. So there's two workarounds that I have for this that I wanted to share with you today. And as we can see right now, product 1 and 2 under re-enrollment is start out. However, if we change this from selections to is known, we can now use the re-enrollment. So you can say anytime product is known, they're going to come down the workflow, and every time that becomes re-known, it re-triggers the workflow. So say product was already known and it's product 1. They then purchase product 2. It appends that to products. Now products has become known again. They'll come back down the workflow. But then you say, okay, well, I only want product 1 and product 2 to come down this workflow. Well, there's two things that you can do. You can either create an if-then branch here and then select products 1 and 2. And then you would have all of the actions follow down that branch. And then anything that's not product 1 or 2 is going to go down the none met branch, and they're not going to have any actions. The one issue is you're going to have contacts that are enrolled or objects that are enrolled down these workflows that even though they didn't have any action carry through on their record, it's going to show that they were enrolled and that they completed it. So you can also use unenrollment and suppression criteria by creating lists, and you can play with that so that you can try to keep the contact or the object out of the workflow entirely. So that's one of the tips. The other would be, so this is based around the email subscription property. So as we can see, when I'm talking about object triggers, we have the contact, company, deal. Anytime you're using these, if it's a native HubSpot property, you can usually use re-enrollment, but if it's a custom property for any of those, or if you're trying to do a cross-object enrollment, for example, we're in a contact-based workflow right now. If we were trying to trigger based on company properties, it's going to limit you in terms of re-enrollment. So the other options down here are not contact or object properties. As we can see, email subscriptions is the one we're using here. We're saying that they have opted into demo. When we go to use that for re-enrollment, it's telling us we can't do anything about that. Like, we can't use that property. So how do we trigger this workflow to run? Well, if you do and you do a list membership, you can use that same property in your list. So if we were to go look at my list, and this is quickly turning into much longer than 1 minute. But if we go back to my list, we can see this opt-in email subscription has opted into demo. So we're using the same exact logic that we would have been using in that workflow. But instead, we have now based it off of a list. We can delete that. We can use that as re-enrollment. So those are two quick ways that you can circumvent anytime you run into an issue with re-enrollment. I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are, the HubSpot community. If you've found any other useful workarounds for this, what issues you've run into with it, how limiting you find this to be. I definitely think this is something that HubSpot can improve. But in the meantime, we need to have a solution for it. And I think that these are two great ways to approach. So please let me know all your thoughts, comments, concerns in the comments below. And I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you.